In this next section, we're going to talk about value. What exactly is value? Value is known as the net quantifiable benefits that a customer, a stakeholder, realizes from a product, service, or result. So right here in this one, this principle states continually evaluate and adjust project alignment to business objectives and intended benefits and value. Value is the ultimate indicator of project success. Value can be realized throughout the project, at the end of the project, or after the project is complete. Value and the benefits that contribute to value can be defined in quantitative and/or qualitative terms. So you need to be very comfortable with the concept of value. For example, you create a software application. You use the application. The application helps you do things more efficiently. That is a benefit. An example could be AI. ChatGPT now helps you in your everyday administrative tasks. That's benefit. And the ultimate collection of all those benefits from GPT is the value. It helps me with my scheduling. It helps me with my cost. It helps me with my scope. Helps me with my procurement. All of that is going to net, and that's your value, the net quantifiable benefit that you derive from a product, service, or result. Now, the ultimate outcome could be ChatGPT helps me with all of these variables, but it boils down to a better project management outcome or report, or reliability or predictability. That's the outcome. So you've got a product, ChatGPT, you've got value from all the different areas of knowledge, but ultimately you want an outcome which is higher levels of success, higher levels of reliability, and so on. Here in the final piece, it says project teams evaluate progress and adapt to maximize the expected value. Let's move on to our next one. The next one we're going to talk about here is systems thinking. And a systems thinker is one who sees the aggregate of many pieces that might be minute, but the systems thinker sees how everything integrates. So it says, recognize, evaluate, and respond to the dynamic circumstances within and surrounding the project in a holistic way to positively affect project performance. So when you look at a project, what is a project? Your project is a system of interconnected pieces. It says systems thinking entails taking a holistic view of how project parts interact with each other and with external systems. It says systems are constantly changing, requiring constant attention to the internal and external conditions. So your project is not isolated from the company. It's not isolated from the program or the portfolio. So there are systems at play of internal forces and external forces. There's a marketplace impacting the firm and ultimately impacting your project. And that's why certain projects are scrapped and other projects are prioritized because of those system interactions within or external. It says here, systems are constantly changing, requiring consistent attention to the internal and external conditions. Being responsive to system interactions allows project teams to leverage positive outcomes. So the key thing is to recognize when these interactions and how these interactions are taking place. Let's move to the next one. The next one here is leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership, says John C. Maxwell, America's leadership guru. But what exactly is leadership? Yes, everything rises and falls on it, but what is it? The true measure of leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. Leadership is influence, and however you influence is inconsequential as long as it's above board. But the question is, are you influencing? How are you influencing? Some people influence in poor ways with carrot and sticks. That's poor. We're not talking about that. We're talking about being able to influence the team through positive means. Positive means such as having conversation and dialogue and building rapport. By example, when the team sees what you're doing, when the team sees your results, you're also leading by your human interactions and the value that you're adding to people in different ways. You can add value to the firm, but you also need to think about adding value to people. How is that? You can add value in different ways to people. You can add value in the way you communicate. You can add value in the way you document. You can add value in the way you analyze and the way you make decisions. So I encourage you, as you are thinking of these terms like leadership, try to make it have a pinpoint, precise, realistic idea. And this is what leadership is all about. It says, demonstrate and adapt leadership behaviors to support individual and team needs. See that? Demonstrate and adapt those behaviors because effective leadership promotes project success and contributes to positive project outcomes. This is gold for any project manager. If you want to succeed on your projects, you need to be an effective leader. Remember I said everything rises and falls on leadership. Your project success, your project failure in those instances, unfortunately, everything rises and falls on leadership. It says leadership is different from authority. Authority is command and control, but leadership is not that. Leadership is influence, and it's not illegitimate influence through methods such as coercion and carrot and sticks, even though some leaders make it that. It needs to be influence through legitimate means. As a leader, it says, effective leaders recognize differences in motivation among team members. Leaders demonstrate desired behavior, which is when I say legitimate, I'm talking about things that are above board in business. Leaders demonstrate desired behaviors in areas of honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct. So these are very important for you to remember to truly grasp the area of leadership. Let's go a step further and talk about the aspect of tailoring. Here, when we talk about tailoring just means cutting the tools and techniques according to the project type, the project size. We don't want to get into tunnel vision thinking that everything needs to be 49 processes or everything needs to be agile. That is a misconception. It says here, design the project development approach based on the context of the project, its objectives, stakeholders, governance, and the environment, using just enough process to achieve the desired outcome. You see the word just enough. We're not looking to use everything. We don't want to use too much. We want to use just enough, the bare minimum. There's something we say in the world of Agile, just barely good enough, just barely enough, and that needs to be your mindset. It says each project is unique. Each project has its own twist, its own bend, its own caveat, its own difference and slant from the stakeholder. We need to be mindful of that we don't throw the kitchen sink at the entire project. It says, project success is based on adapting to the unique context of the project to determine the most appropriate methods of producing the desired outcome. You see that word again. The PMI is big on that word in 2023. Outcome, outcome, outcome. You want to remember that. Outcome is pivotal. It says, Tailoring the approach is iterative and therefore a continuous process throughout the project. So you got to look at tailoring as something that lives throughout the project. Let's move on to our final one for this section. The final one for this section is quality. And it says, maintain a focus on quality that produces deliverables that meet project objectives and align to the needs, uses, and acceptance requirements set forth by relevant stakeholders. So let's digest this. A focus on quality, but what is quality? Quality is four things in my mind: fitness for use, conformance to requirements, customer satisfaction, and a Kaizen mindset, which means continuous improvement. So when you boil it down, if you're doing those four things, the road to quality is likely to end well. Fitness for use, conformance to requirements, customer satisfaction, and Kaizen-mindedness. It says, project quality entails satisfying stakeholders' expectations and fulfilling project and product requirements. Quality focuses on meeting acceptance criteria for deliverables. Project quality entails ensuring project processes are appropriate and are as effective as possible. So we have team quality within the team, our level and our approach to the project in terms of success, in terms of conforming to those benchmarks and those standard operating procedures. Some projects have a very high level of conformance to the SOPs, the standard operating procedures, or the organizational process assets, if you will, and some projects don't. Those are poor quality in terms of the project management. So it's not just about the product. You got to think about the process. Are we adhering to a high quality standard in terms of the processes of project management? Because if we have a bunch of standard operating procedures and no one's following those, then quality is not being met from that perspective. So keep these things in mind. So far, in the past couple of videos, we've talked about stewardship, team, stakeholders, value, systems thinking, leadership, tailoring, and quality. The next one, that's going to be the final. We're going to talk about complexity, risk, adaptability, and resilience, and change. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.